I address this bill particularly, I would like to make an observation which will make this our house respectable as it is supposed to be. This is the upper house of the parliament. And if there is any single bill, if there is any bill that has ever left the National Assembly and come here, and the upper house gives a different opinion, this is one of those bills. This is where the upper house made up of important dignitaries who have served this nation and who are interested in seeing that they leave the nation intact for the children and grandchildren. This is when their voices have to be heard over this bill. We are fortunate that your humble servant here was the representative of the bar president in Bamenda when the ongoing crisis came up. And I had difficulties managing it because of this language problem. And I'm lucky that the bill has made me, while a parliamentarian and a senator particularly. Opinions, Mr. President, don't have colors. Your humble servant here has had the opportunity, the rare opportunity, of serving this nation, both within and out of this country. And I did it with all dignity because I was doing it for my nation. I've represented the state of Cameroon. I represent them in the courts in Cameroon and out of the country. And it's only when you go out of this country that you feel proud of this nation. If there's any one bill that is going to turn this our nation upside down, as far as the constituency where I come from is concerned, it is this bill, Mr. President. The ongoing crisis started with the failure of translated texts into English and the transfer of magistrates from east of the Mongo who could not understand, who could not preside over court proceedings in English. Not only were they not capable of presiding over court proceedings in English, but they didn't understand the common law. And that's the reason for which we have the status, the special status that has been ascribed by the head of state to us. It is important that I laid this foundation before going to the merits and demerits of this bill. In fact, from what I'm going to present, from the presentation I'm going to make here, I will plead with the President to give me some small time. With the presentation I'm going to make here, I'm going to give an analysis of this bill, and it will give reason for this House to give this bill a second thought, a second consideration, a consideration which will be different from what took place in the lower house. Mr. President, Your Excellency, Mr. Minister of Arts and Culture, going by the bill before us, the appellation even of that bill poses a problem. This bill, if it leaves this House, it is going down to the lower house for it to go to the President for promulgation, and it will become law. If it is promulgated as a law, it will really be an embarrassment to people, to legal minds who know what a legal document is supposed to contain. The nomenclature, the name of this bill, or the heading, the title of this bill is a bill on the promotion of official languages in Cameroon. In fact, under administrative law, there's what we know as judicial police and administrative police. Administrative police begins by doing sensitization before a law is passed, is brought up. It does sensitization, that is, if you are guilty of the sensitization, you are forgiven, because the state authorities are trying to sensitize the people to get ready to receive before they start receiving the penalties. That is at the level that the state officials, they are acting as administrative police. When it becomes an issue of judicial police, it is when, if you default, you are sanctioned. And that is what all legal documents are supposed to, what is called law. It must have a mechanism by which it must be enforced, without which it would not be law. With leave of the Minister of Arts and Culture, I googled the definition of law, and I came up with this definition. In quotes, the system of rules which a particular country or community recognize as regulating the actions of its members, and which, this is where the emphasis comes, and which it may enforce by the imposition of penalties. That is the definition, the legal definition of what a law is. Mr. President, Your Excellency, Mr. Minister, if this document eventually leaves this house, gets to the National Assembly, and it is sent to the President, it is promulgated as law, it will lack that very important element of what a law is supposed to be. That is, the possibility of it being enforced. Going by the provisions of this draft bill, there is no element of penalty should any particular authority called upon to practice bilingualism or to serve a citizen in the language of his choice, or the language in which a citizen or the service user presents himself. If he fails, there is no law, there's no provision here that will punish him. If there is a provision in the penal code for failure to give services in the required form, this law could have made reference to that particular penal provision in the penal code. There is no reference in this law to any penal provision that punishes any state official that will fail, will be guilty of dereliction of duty, which makes it more or less a moral document. And when it is a moral document, when there is no sanction attached to it, we will still have that scenario repeating itself, whereby documents will come out of offices in one language and the other person will find difficulties understanding. You will see how the dean of this house, Chief Mukete, and others behaved when they could not get communication in a language that they understand. We are in an institution. It causes breach of communication. In fact, the person finds himself in a different world. He cannot understand what is happening. And that's how Senior Chief Mukete behaved. And I saw with him. For there is an adage, Mr. President, dear colleagues, there's an adage that whosoever is called upon to address an audience does so in a language that is not understood by that language. That is not understood by that audience. It is he who is addressing that audience in that language which is not understood by the audience who is a fool. It is not the audience that is a fool. But in our context, in the context of this bill, if this bill were to become law and it goes through, we will find ourselves in a situation whereby in a seminar or in a classroom, since anybody is entitled to teach or to pass out his message in one of the official languages and the other person is supposed to understand, we have got situations where people go into seminars, they come out, they sign the per diem, come out, they go and eat, but nothing has gone down their head. And it is a country, it is Cameroon that is losing. Because had the person who is supposed to understand the wordings of that seminar or the materials from that seminar, had he actually understood it in his original language, he would have maybe done something that would help the state. But the state loses. We don't know the difficulties of that. And we have got a situation where in Babisi, a deal, because of this same code that is coming to practice, a deal addresses villagers in Babisi subdivision, in Gotunja division, in French. And when he is called upon that is the language he understands, and he is free to speak it. The villagers never understood anything. Is that administrator a successful administrator? And we'll pretend ourselves that we are in a bilingual country. The country may be bilingual, but we are not bilingual. And we must accept that fact before we can progress. Without which, we will find ourselves in a situation where we'll be building and destroying at the same time. And that is what is happening in the field. Mr. President, before coming here, when this bill was introduced, the number of phone calls, the number of exchanges, threats that we have had, lawyers attempting to march because of this bill. And I will analyze here before His Excellency the Minister to show that after the uprising, after the lawyers threatened to go on strike, the amendment that was made, the so-called amendment that was made, was just merely cosmetic. Nothing has been changed. It remains what it is, what it was, what they intended. And I want to think that the person who drafted this bill, and the person who drafted this bill and brought it to Parliament, is an enemy of the head of state. He's an enemy of the head of state. That person should be fished out and should be brought to book. This is the type of bill that will be destroying us, and we think that we are building. To progress in my analysis of the bill, Mr. Minister, Your Excellency, with all due respect, about the heading, which is called Promotion of Bilingualism. Having analyzed my talk on the issue of administrative police and judicial police, we lawmakers, we are at the stage of judicial police. We are no longer administrative police. When the law reaches us here, we are preparing a law for sanctioning of the person who disobeys that law. We are not administrative police. The administrators can carry a campaign in the field, but when a law reaches us here, we impose a penalty, and that's what makes it a law. So the heading, as per my analysis, is supposed to be a bill on the practice of official languages in Cameroon. Practice. We are now dealing with practice. What is going to obtain in the field is not promotion, Mr. Minister. It's not promotion. It is the practice of the official languages. So if you call it promotion, know that we have passed the administrative police stage. We are now at the judicial police. We have to now enforce it. So as somebody who goes against it is brought to book. So it is not supposed to be the administrative police level. We are at the judicial police level. So it is supposed to be punished. So it should be bill on the practice of official languages in Cameroon. That's my suggestion, and I hope it will be taken seriously. Going